Welcome to Section 31, episode number 338. I'm Dan Hammond.
And I am Rogue Schindler.
This week, I have returned from Origins from Columbus, Ohio. So we'll talk about that. Rogue mentioned something about an interesting article, so we might touch on that, something about Vulcans. But I think we're probably going to spend the most time talking about Origins. Sound like a plan?
Sounds good. Let's do it.
All right. I arrived on Wednesday, and I didn't actually play any games, I think, until Thursday. But I got to do all kinds of stuff. I talked two of our friends into playing True Dungeon because they were starting at Origins for the first time. And I was like, hadn't they been there before? But they've been at Gen Con forever. Yeah. And a couple of people that were there working were like, oh, have you played before? I was like, yeah, but it's been like since Gen Con SoCal. And they're like, I haven't worked for the company that long. So it's been a long time. We got my tokens all look like this. They're made of wood.
I was just going to say, I just pulled those out.
Yeah. I did have a couple of red ones. This one of lightning bolt's pretty cool.
Did they still work for you?
Yeah, they were just fine. But all the new stuff looks like this.
Yeah.
They're weighted. They're heavy. They've got either metal or a magnet inside, so they snap into the pucks that you use for shuffleboard.
Ah.
That's very nice. Dude, I got some cool stuff though. Check this out. Can you read that?
Thrall Captain Armor.
Thrall Captain Armor, +7 to AC and +2 to maximum hit points.
Wow, that's really good.
Paladin. Yeah, like, dude.
As far as I know.
That
sounds good.
So, yeah, I've got this big bag full of tokens now because 3 of us went, and I had all my old ones, so I got a decent size. I think I filled up 2 of these little pouches, right? But 3 of us went, and I kind of talked them into playing, so they left me all their tokens. You get a bag for playing, so we got a bunch of them, and then we all got 4 random pulls from the loot table, whatever that was,
right?
For extra prizes. So we all got some rares and uncommons, and I got a big full sack of stuff. So that was great. We didn't survive because all of our loot I was the only person in our party of 10. Was it 10? It felt like 10. No, maybe it was 9 or 8. I think it was 10. I was the only one who had ever played before. So none of the loot going in was anywhere near that stuff that we pulled. So we were all very basic stuff. So all the combats were really difficult. And by the end, it was like, okay, time's up. You guys have done about half damage to this final monster. So you all die, rocks fall, and have a good day. But
that's kind of tough. I was wondering that last time I went, because I played for the second time in a while 2 years ago, and like it was. I think you're right. It was like up to a party of 10, and I think we were maxed out. But I was with a friend who plays all the time, and there was a bunch of people there who plays all the time, and they were like, "What are you playing?" Bard. Okay, here, this, that, whatever. And they're like pulling all their extra stuff, and they're like, gearing me up, and like I was wondering if I guess they take it a little bit into consideration from what I could glean, but like I felt like they should like scale it a little bit based on the average level of the party or experience of the party. But man,
going in, there were 3 different difficulties, and we were at medium. Apparently there's like a non-lethal version, and there's the advanced version. I would imagine that scales up the bad guys. I don't know if it scales up the challenges. We managed to solve all the puzzles with time to spare every time, so that was great.
Nice.
Yeah. There was a fairly obnoxious color puzzle I thought you'd like to hear about. There were a couple of. There was one where we were in this room, and this kind of like bumper pool looking table was in the middle, and all the pie pieces were on the wall, and we had to put them down, but the writing was in UV on the other side, and then we had to fix them up and put them in all the right order. That was pretty cool. And then do the little dance over the runes to find out which one to touch. But again, all the puzzles were interesting. All the combats were about what you'd expect. And again, since everyone was new, no one was very good at shuffleboard. So there was a lot of, okay, one person hit this round, everybody go again. And we're like, okay, here we go. But I had in the past, playing the wizard, you got to memorize this chart of where things are. And going in, I had been, practicing, so I had a pretty good idea. It's a spiral chart with 5 arms, and there's, the elements on one side and parts of your mind and soul on this side, and Olympus on that side, and Hades down there, and different planes and all kinds of things. And when I got in, the board was completely different in random shapes, and it was a square pattern, and instead of each arc being out for the circle, it was each shape was different. So there was pieces on the corners. There was the square in the middle was broken up into 4. There were parts on the diagonals, and there were parts in between the diagonals and the middle. So I think it lost one of the 5 arcs, but the good part is everything else was, all the words were the same. It was just in random different places. So it wasn't too terrible because I kind of remembered what all the parts were, so I could do it by group. So it was like, fire, earth, air, earth, fire, water, and then going around was all kinds of things on the inside. So I managed to do well enough that that I didn't have any errors, and everything was bonused out to max. So in the limited amount of time, that was pretty good.
Nice. Yeah, hey, if you can get all your spells off, that's great.
Yeah. I didn't feel like, when you get to you always wonder how many you should be using over the course of the thing, because you don't want to blow all your spells early. You don't want to save them all to the end and then not have a combat at the end. But I kind of just spread them around, and at one point we were told, yeah, you're halfway done. I probably could have looked at a clock and made the same determination, but I want to say there were 3 combats, and I think I used 1 or 2 in each one, and it kind of spread out nicely. So all in all, it was great. It was only $42 or something instead of the 78 or what we're paying for a Gen Con.
Oh,
so
wow.
like, man, we could do this again. They told me, the folks running it said Saturday was packed all day, but Thursday you could walk up and just play. So
wow, nice.
I'm thinking next year when it goes up, we'll take some spots on Thursday and jump in. The only thing was, it was the game from last year's Gen Con. So if we go back to Origins next year, it will be this year's Gen Con round. So could be good, could be retread.
Okay, but there are 2.
Yes, and there were 2 there as well. So technically, we could do the one that we're not doing at Gen Con.
Yeah, we'll just make sure we pay attention to which one we're doing.
Yeah,
I think we're doing part 2.
We chose the one that was puzzle based instead of combat based, which
well, they actually do 4 technically. So there's 2 stories.
Oh,
but they do a puzzle emphasis version and a combat emphasis version of each one. At least that's how they did it 2 years ago. And that's why you'll see, Tale of the Spider People puzzle versus Tale of the Spider People combat when you sign up. So, if you're more interested in combat, you can gear up and go Munchkin out. Or if you're more interested in doing the puzzle, I think it's scaled back a little bit. So there's another difficulty variation. But yeah, we chose a puzzle version of the one we're doing, but there are still 2 stories and we're only doing one of them. So,
well, that's brilliant. Then let's do the other one, and maybe the one that we do again if we don't get to the end next year in Origins, because it was a great time. Yeah, exactly. That ended up being on Saturday midday. Before that, I got to play a couple of games on the floor. I got to do a couple of great demos. There's one game called no, not that one. Let me see if I can find it here.
Is it like Star Realms?
Star Realms, yeah, that was one of the first ones we sat down to do, and it was entertaining. It reminded me a lot of Race for the Galaxy, in that there were a bunch of different kind of factions, and you kind of concentrate on one of them throughout. And Dominion, as you're kind of building a deck as you go, kind of closer to Legacy. Is it Legacy? Is that the Spider-Man and
Legendary?
Legendary, yeah. So kind of like that, except they make no bones about the fact that you're competing against everyone else. You start out with 50 life, and from the first turn, you're pinging your opponent for 1, 2, and then as the turns go on, it's like 10, 15, and it just swings, big swings back and forth until it ends. But just like Legendary, you get bonuses for having a card of that type in play, and then it just starts stacking and getting big, more combo-y and swingy. I had a good time, and the base set was only $15
Oh wow.
in a deck. You know, you get a deck, and then you get all the cards, and you play it. They also had like 15 card expansion packs that they've done for the last year or two. So there was about 4 of those, and they also sold their own sleeves, and you could get everything from the entire game and a long box to put it in for $50. It's like,
That's a
well,
pretty good deal.
that's pretty good. That's like the cost of one Dominion set, right?
Yeah, it's a little bit more, but yeah.
And you get everything, and you know,
And that's everything for all players, not just one player.
up to 4 players.
But I mean, you don't each have to have a box.
Yeah, yeah,
You
no,
all
it's just
play from
one
one.
set, like just like Legendary. So I almost did it. They were giving, if you did a demo, you got a promo card, which was neat. It was kind of like a dual color card, so you could use it with either faction. That's nice. And they also give you a postcard so that you can go. The game is available through Steam to play as an
Ooh.
app, right? So you get you can buy it for your phone, or I think, now I think about it, if it downloads for free from the Google Play or the iTunes Store, or you can spend $4 and unlock multiplayer. So you can play single player all you want. Spend a couple bucks and
Ooh.
unlock
Well, that's
multiplayer.
kind of
So
cool.
the postcard was unlocking multiplayer, so you could play however. So Sunday when I was waiting for my flight, I downloaded that and started playing. I played through the first free campaign. I didn't get all the achievements, so I got something to do, and I certainly didn't play on hard either. And some of those games against the AI were rough, but yeah, I burned up my phone battery twice and recharged it playing it all the way back on the plane because you could play without a Wi-Fi signal, which was awesome. I played it a lot. I feel like I'm much better than I was in the first demo, but I still get beat up by the AI every time I try just a random game, and I haven't even tried to go online and play against real people yet. But just like the ACG game, you can buy expansions. So all the physical expansions that they have are additional expansion in the game for a couple of bucks, and you get
Okay.
a new campaign of 5 or 6 games to play. So I tried to get more postcards so I could divvy them out to you and Brian and Charlie and Matt and anyone else who might want to play. But by the time I went back for more, they were all gone. So they said they'd be bringing more to Gen Con though, so we can get at least a few.
Oh, that sounds good.
Yeah, and maybe we can get a demo, and if we like it, maybe just pay $15 and get just the one deck to play, a quick 2-player game now and then. So that was entertaining. I played a game that I think they did that pretty early in the show too. There was a game that had something to do with bears and zoos. It was a Mayfair game, and the idea was like a placement. You kind of was like a cross between Tetris and Power Grid. You started out with this little square that was maybe a 6x6 grid, and on it were a couple of, it's like an empty lot. So there's a picture of a little construction guy and a bulldozer and some other things. And when you place a tile on it, like a 1 or 2 or 3 or later on big Tetris size pieces on it, whatever you cover up, that's what additional tile you get for your next play. And if you cover 2 icons, well, you get 2 icons and 2 tiles, and then you can choose what you want to play. One of them is like a construction cone, and that gets you a second tile for a second lot, and you got to play until a player has filled up all spaces on 4 lots. So you all the pieces are different sizes, so you're trying to line things up so you can't overlap anything, but you don't want to waste time just buying 1x1 squares. So that was interesting. The pieces that you buy start out worth 5 points, but the one underneath it is worth 4, and then 3, and then 2, and then 1. So if you buy them first, you get more points. And if you fill up your entire grid, you get a statue, and the statue starts at 14 points and it goes down. So when the later players don't get as many. And the big pieces that you get take up just weird, oddly shapes, and they're worth between 8 and 7 points, or 8 and 5 points, depending on how big of a piece you get and what weird shape it is. And we played 3 players. It probably lasted about 30 minutes, 45 minutes or so. That was a lot of fun, and that sold out, so I didn't get a copy of that. But I also didn't do all the things at Mayfair games that you do to get all the ribbons, and then you buy something at half off.
Sure.
I would totally spend a half a day or so working to get that ribbon thing to buy that game at half price, because that was certainly worth it for half price.
Cool. Well, that's another target goal for Gen Con.
Yeah, exactly. I went by the booth for King of Tokyo. This is a new promo. Fish market. Roll 6 dice, gain a heart for each 1, 2, 3 or heart you roll, lose a heart for each claw you roll, and gain 2 energy for each energy you roll. So just random, get a bunch of stuff.
Wow, that's cool.
And a new Cthulhu for Jesse's pack. Had to buy something to get. Had to buy something to get the promo. And was like, can I just have a promo? So I ended up. I sent a text to Jesse. Sorry for asking you about Cthulhu on Sunday morning when you're probably at church, but do you need it? Turns out he did, so that's good. What else did I track? There's a game by Upper Deck, who is actually local here in Carlsbad, called Quest for the Antidote. Yeah, Quest for the Antidote. So the premise is the king is obsessed with poison because his wife was poisoned, and he's trying to find the universal antidote to poisons. Fair enough?
Okay.
In order to go about this, he's poisoned everyone in his kingdom. Because someone will find a cure.
Okay.
You are the players who have the best chance of finding a cure. In fact, you've spoke to a mystic of some sort, and they've given you a list of these 3 things that you have to go out into the woods to find. Except that you only have 50 breaths left of life before you die. So that's the counter as it goes around the board, and you start with the full, couple of lungs, and then by the time you get to the end, you're out of breath and you die.
Wow.
So you're moving around on the board and rolling a d6 to see how far you go, and you're fighting monsters with the d10. The monsters range in difficulty from like 3 to 10, and you when you encounter one, you roll a d10, and if you roll equal or higher, you beat it, and it costs you a breath every time you roll. If you don't roll higher than it, you keep rolling until you beat it.
Oh.
So if you encounter 1 or 2 or 3 or 2 or 3 or 4, 1 or 2 rolls and you beat it. If you counter that 10, it's probably going to cost you a couple of breaths, 7 or 8 breaths before you beat it. 7, 8, 9, and 10s give you some good loot to use later on, and there's also these weird thwarting cards that you can play on your opponent. So when they get to the end and someone's got 2 and he's got their 3rd and he's racing back, you play a thwart card and they got to go back 3 spaces or something like that. That was fun. It was an interesting 4-player game. Unfortunately, it was only 4 players, and it did take a good maybe an hour or so to play. Really strategic and detailed, and trying to figure out where you're going to go and what side of the board, and shortcuts through different monster areas. And I ended up winning that. That was fun. By like a half turn, as my opponent's we're both racing, like Candyland style to the end. And he kept rolling low, and I kept rolling high, and I just snuck past him and won. So that was fun. The other one thing, in addition to True Dungeon, the thing that I signed up for was the Rick and Morty game.
Yes.
The park inside Anatomy Park inside the mall, the homeless mall Santa. That was extraordinary.
In a good way.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. I played with our friend PG and 2 other guys, and you're playing tiles in the park, your different amusement park things, and you get points for everyone you play, but you can only play them in certain areas, and you have to play them adjacent to you. And you can move tiles around, you can reorganize the park, but every time you do, something bad happens to the body that you're all in. Every player gets a different power. So I was someone grabbed Morty, PG grabbed the girl, other guy grabbed the guy who's voiced by not Stephen Colbert, the other late night host, and so I grabbed Rick, and we went back and forth. We're all sending diseases at each other and fighting, and then the guy who was running the thing said, okay, winner gets a $10 off certificate to anything in the store. So all right, PG and I could look at each other. It was like, all right, we're teaming up against these guys now. So, John Oliver, that was the voice. Sorry.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, John Oliver.
We're moving things around and sending disease. These clueless guys were fighting against each other, so they never had a chance. But yeah, there's just disgusting sounds and images, and it was entertaining enough that $32 was too much to spend, but $22 after I won was the right amount to spend. So I brought home a copy of that. It's up to 4 or 5 players, so we can try that out.
Nice.
Friday nights. That was great. I on Sunday I was walking around trying to find a kids game that I can bring back, and I found one at Yellow, the same company that does King of Tokyo.
Yep. Yellow.
IELLO. I guess that's yellow. ELO. Okay. It was called Legend of the Wendigo, which is interesting. And it's got a picture on the box of a bunch of Cub Scouts or Girl Scouts or something like that, kind of a mixed scout group. So all right, I'm looking at the box. It's got a bunch of cute little discs, maybe a little smaller than a coaster. And there's probably maybe 15 or 20 of them out randomly kind of on this table. And you remember the game Guess Who? Where you knock down the people, right? It kind of reminded me of that in that they all looked generically the same. Some of them were girls, some of them were boys. Some of them had red scarves, some of them had purple scarves, some of them had green scarves, some of them had hats, some of them had glasses. So they were all uniquely identifiable by a certain number of things. But they were all randomly out on the table. There was also an identical stack inside the box, and I found out that it's one player versus everyone else. So you play with 4 people. It's 1 versus 3. All right. The one person who is by themselves is it, right? They're the monster. Everyone else turns around, and the one player chooses one of the tiles in the middle to be the monster. And so he takes one tile, the matching tile off of his monster tile stack that looks exactly the same on the front, and replaces it down on the table. So now one of those people is the monster. And when you flip it over, it'll show the monster. When you flip all the other ones over, it just shows a bunch of scouts. So the game is the 3 players take a look at the board, try to do their best to memorize where things are, and then they all turn around. And then the player playing the monster removes one of the tiles from the board and then puts the monster in that spot. And then everyone turns around again, and you get one guess after some discussion as to which is the monster, right? And if they get it right, the monster loses. If they get it wrong, they get to turn around again, and you take off another piece, and the monster moves again. So okay, well, he was over here somewhere. What does he look like? What do you remember? That one over there. So I thought it was a pretty fun kids game.
Yeah.
Until I got to kind of thinking about how I would explain this, that there's a monster in the woods eating the children. And you have to figure out which among you is a monster in disguise who's going to eat your neighbor.
Oh, it's just developing a healthy paranoia.
A healthy
At an early age.
So I figure the 8-year-old and 3-year-old don't need those nightmares right away. So I skipped that one. I like the mechanic. It was a good mechanic. I like the memory mechanic. I think it needs a different theming.
Maybe reskin it.
Yeah, reskin the Wendigo. So I ended up across the way at this company that I know I bought something from before, but I don't know what it is. This guy outside their booth was doing this. He had this little salmon, and he was just making it swim in front of him. And so I stopped, and I wandered over, and he said, "I caught someone with my fish." And this game is called Happy Salmon, which pretty good name for a kids' game. Everyone gets a stack of about 15 cards. They all have the same number of each card in it. The cards are either Happy Salmon, High Five, Switcheroo, or Pound It. And everyone's standing around a table. You got to play with at least 3 people. You flip over your own deck and look at the top card, and you've got to find someone else at the table who also needs your matching thing. So you got to find someone who's going to pound it, right? Put their fist out, and then if you both do that, you get to discard that card and flip over the next card, right? So you're going around the table trying to find people to high five and fist bump and do the switcheroo means change places in the table, so run around the table to the other spot. And happy
Oh.
salmon means you both put your arms out and do this and slap each other's uh, forearm
Forearm.
here, and happy salmon flopping around fish out of water style.
Uh-huh.
It was kind of fun. It was cute, and at $15, it sounded about right. So the kids are interested in playing this. It says 6+. I think Dominic can do it as long as he doesn't punch me in the face when he's trying to face. Anyway, that was the kids' purchase. So Wendigo, Happy Salmon, Star Realms, Quest for the Antidote, Dominion. No, not Dominion. That is True Dungeon and some food. So I think that's just about everything I managed to squeeze in gaming-wise. We did a couple of rounds of Escape, which I've forgotten how hard that game is when you first start out and you don't really know what you're doing.
Right. Yeah.
Toward the end, it was, okay, Dan, what do we all do? It's okay, everyone over here. And everyone's happily rolling their dice trying to get over to where I told them to go. Okay, everyone trying to get blasters. Okay, we're all trying to get blasters. So that was fun. I think we played about 4 or 5 times, and we finally won at the end. That was rough. Oh, 2 new Cards Against Humanity style games. The first was, I didn't have as much fun. It was called Channel A. And it was about anime, not my biggest thing, but you get 2 or 3, I guess, descriptor cards, like hospital, time travel, and you put them together, and everyone else looking at their handful of weird anime words has to pitch a show based on that. So it's if you're into anime,
that sounds like snake oil, but yeah,
you could probably put together all of those things. And they're, from what I could tell, they were actually all words from titles, and mashing them up, it was entertaining. We had 2 or 3 people who were into anime and really enjoyed it. I think if I were playing with a group of 6 people who all liked anime, I would probably play again, but otherwise I'd pass. The other game,
that sounds almost enough to be fun, like if it were like superhero or something sci-fi or
yeah.
But anime.
Not my.
So.
Oh, boy, I haven't seen any of that since college days. So, but the other game is the one you just mentioned. That was Snake Oil. My goodness, that was entertaining.
I love that game.
Yeah.
I give you one guess who introduced us to that game when you weren't there.
Oh, I don't know. Who was it?
Jesse.
Perfect. Yeah. So it ended. We were all standing around a table and just we played through the deck. I mean, from one side to the other.
Wow.
It was astounding. It captured our attention the whole time, and we had people doing voices and acting out commercials, and sang a song to the tune of Gilligan's Island. It was amazing. It was great fun. And now Regret Puppet is going to be in the lexicon from now on.
Regret Puppet.
Yeah. So that was a lot of fun. I would definitely play that again, especially if Jesse's got a local. Yeah, that was great. There were a couple of other games.
Do you want to describe it for like?
Oh, yeah.
I know what it is. We didn't really talk about it.
Yeah. So just like very similar to the anime game, you draw a occupation card, and actually it's 2-sided, so you get to choose which one you want. Do you want to be the lawyer, or do you want to be the alien invader? And you put it in front of you. Everyone else has all these words that don't necessarily go together until you decide. You get like a handful of 10 cards. You choose 2 of them, and when it's your turn, you flip them over, and let's say your profession is cowboy. Everyone has to sell you as a snake oil salesman, and explain to you why their 2-card combo is the best product for you to buy. So, yeah,
if you're a cowboy, sir,
yeah,
let me tell you, there's nothing that you could want more when you're out there on the range than this regret puppet. You're a rugged man. You're a leader of men. You cannot let any of these people know that you have emotion. You have to keep a straight facade. They have to trust you. They have to believe in you. And so when you're alone at night in your tent and nobody can see you, you can take out this regret puppet and you can pour all of your emotions into that. You can have it in a private moment and then stow it away, and you can go out and be the rugged cowboy for the rest of the day tomorrow.
As a mortician, no, sorry, it was grave robber. As a grave robber, I'm sure you've noticed that the cemeteries around here have been pilfered by the likes of your colleagues. What you need is a vacation. You need a vacation from your work, but to a place where you can get your work done. You need to go to Coffin Island. Yes.
Oh, that's awesome.
That was a lot of that. That was fun. We went to.
That's a great game. I would like to get a copy of that at some point.
Yeah, that that was good fun. We took a break on Saturday night and we walked far too far to a really. It was in Columbus. They've got this nonprofit, community-driven theater where they show movies. Right. They show new run movies, and they also had this. It's sci-fi summer, so we're showing Doctor Strangelove in 4K, and just all kinds of weird stuff.
Wow!
Yeah, well, we went to go see Wonder Woman, so I finally got to see that. That was fun.
Yay! Oh man, so good.
It was either that or Guardians of the Galaxy, and Guardians of the Galaxy was a car ride somewhere, so that's what we got to saw. I'll see Guardians of the Galaxy.
That's a good choice.
Yeah. Let's see. I don't know. I think that probably wraps it up. I didn't get to do much in the way of Trek. I didn't see any of our, normal go-to gamers there. And you know what I also didn't do? I didn't play a single round of ACG.
That was going to be my question, was how far, if any, did you make it?
So on Wednesday when I got there, I walked around a little bit, and I was looking for our guy. Chris, is that his name?
Eric?
Eric, yeah, Eric, the guy who was always there.
Yep.
And I found the tables where they were going to set up, but they weren't set up yet, so that's fine. All right. On Thursday, I had some time, so I was walking around. I found the tables. No Eric. That's weird.
What?
I know. They didn't have any. It didn't look like they had any organized play stuff, but they were just doing some demos. I stopped in and said, "Hey, what new decks are you premiering right now? Because you did that last year." And he said, "Yeah, we don't have anything." So I said, "Oh, well, that's disappointing." All right, well, I'll come back later. And Thursday I had my schedule was full, and Friday was games night, and I was hosting that, so I had to get the suite set up and do the shopping, and we brought in pizza, and then Saturday we had True Dungeon and go see a movie, and Sunday I walking the floor, and I never went. I mean, I passed it several times and never saw Eric, so.
Man.
Okay. Eric's been at playing ACG at every Origins we've been to and every Gen Con I've been to. He's been a staple at those tables, and I didn't see him, so I hope he's okay. Maybe he chose to do something other than Origins this year. I'm sure we'll see him at Gen Con. Yeah. So that was a non-linear description of everything that I did. The flights were great. I would definitely flying Southwest was great. The $15 upgrade was definitely worth the price. They only used one of my drink tickets for all the glasses of wine I had on the plane, so that was great. And the food, North Market remains astounding.
Oh, yeah.
Even Jenny's has dark chocolate dairy-free now.
Woo!
That was fantastic.
Yay! Wow, that had to be a marvelous surprise.
Yes and no. So one night we go out and have a fancy dinner, right? We go out Thursday night to the steak place, eat way too much food, have 2 bottles of wine for the table, which
of 3
it's not a lot. No, there were more than that. We didn't. I think I may have had 2 glasses of wine, but appetizers, salads, main course, desserts,
sure.
All this stuff. We're waddling out. Okay, we gotta go back to the suite. People are going to be hanging out there for a while. But there's a Jenny's down the street. So we can all go buy pints and take them back to the suite.
Yes.
All right, you know what? I could use a walk. I'll go with you. So we're standing in line, and finally around the corner, and I see up there dark chocolate, dairy-free. Like, fantastic! This is the greatest thing I've ever seen. They don't sell it in pints.
What?
So my choices were to eat a cone. There's no room. There's no room for a cone. Or get a couple of scoops and just carry it back and put that in the freezer.
They wouldn't just pack a pint for you?
They don't have empty pints. The pints come in
What?
and the big buckets come in, but they don't have empty. They don't pack pints. They just sell what they've got in the freezer. So, it went from the greatest thing I've ever heard to the biggest disappointment. I mean,
Seriously,
it's like, I'd like a pint of this. We don't sell that at pints. It's like, oh, okay. Just turned and walked outside, and everyone was like, oh. So that's fine. My friends went back to the one in North Market, and they had them just put 5 scoops in a container, and they brought that back for me. So that was brilliant.
Oh, good.
And I can tell you, it was fantastic.
Excellent.
But yeah, North Market, I went to the Polish place, I went to the Indian place, and I went to the vegan bean place. Everything was fantastic. Everything I had. So celebratory.
Yeah.
Even the Greek place. You remember the Greek place? That's a Greek place in the food court with a lady who she's very pleasant, and as soon as you're done ordering, she turns and just brutally yells at the people behind her, whatever you ordered. It just did not sound pleasant when she's talking to everyone, and she turns around and she's smiling again. She's there again. Yeah, everything was wonderful. The people were wonderful. What was the other thing that took up? So last year, my wife took the kids and they marched in the parade. The pride was that week with some of our friends. This year, didn't have anybody in, so it was like I can go game at any time. So I was like, well, I got some time. My friends are going down to watch some of the parade, so I watered them down and ended up staying for a couple hours. It was just lots of people having a great time in the hot sun. We caught a spot that was shaded by the building just right.
Ooh, nice.
So that, when we got there at like 10 o'clock, it was breezy and in the shade, and when we left for lunch at maybe we got there at 11. We left for lunch at like 1 o'clock. We had backed up just a little bit, but the other sections were all in the sun, and we were still happily in the shade. And when there was a lull in the parade, we just waved to everyone, and went off to North Market and got some lunch. So that was great.
Awesome.
Yeah, I was worried about the flights being too early in the morning. That was perfect. Took Lyft both ways. That was great. I was worried that since I was hosting in the suite, everyone was going to be keeping me awake at all hours. There was a room attached to the suite that they gave us, so that was perfect.
Nice.
Yeah, it was a great trip all around. Would do again. The only thing we're missing were all the people that weren't there who are usually there, right?
Well, it's celebration year.
Exactly. It was a celebration year, and we're expecting next year to be back to our usual numbers. That number being more than 12.
Wow, only 12.
Only 12. We were planning for 14. We had 2 late scratches, so even then, it was a small group, which was the suite we had was perfect size for us, and we only had 1 noise complaint all 4 days. We had a person. So I put up a sign on the suite that said, "Wretched Hive of Scum and Villainy," and then down at the very bottom in small text, "No soliciting," because that's funny. And I had just put the sign up, and when I got back the next day, someone had replaced it with an almost identical sign, except "Wretched Hive of Scum and Villainy" was no longer in Times New Roman. It was in Comic Sans. And the "no soliciting" was in Wingdings or something, so it was just a bunch of random numbers. I'm like, all right.
What?
Every room has a printer in it, so you can, or every suite has a printer, so you can do whatever you want. All right, that's fine. So I took it down. I changed the font to like New Century Gothic or something, put it back up, and this time it said, "Deliveries in back" or something like that. The next time I came by the door, one of our people had put a sticker over Wretched Hive and put the Hyatt logo on it because we were at the Hyatt. So it was a Wretched Hyatt of Scum and Villainy, which is
nice.
funny.
Yep.
And then someone had put this big magazine thing next to it that said, "Smells like victory" or something like that. And then there was this weird "Be Yourself" thing on the, like, well, people were just decorating the crap out of this door for some reason. I don't know why. So the next day I took that sign down and put another one up in a different font that said, "Cashier carries no more than $50" or something like that. And finally, like the last day as we're packing up, some random person from across the hallway said, hey, I've been changing your sign. Like, what? She said, yeah, I hate Times New Roman, so I just changed it and made it something silly like Comic Sans. I like the way the second one you did, but I'm going to take this poster back because I really like this thing that says "Smell Like Victory." And we're like, who are you? What are you doing? At first, I thought she was going to say, yeah, I'm sorry, I'm the one who called in the noise complaint, but no, I'm sorry, I'm the one who's been screwing with your door. Bizarre.
People are weird.
Yeah. Oh, what was the last thing I bought? I usually don't buy anything from the artists just because I don't have room on my walls. But I have been needing a mouse pad. So I got this really cool castle on a
Oh,
mouse
nice.
pad with waterfalls and all kinds of stuff. It was great. It was like, that's something I can spend, $10 on or whatever I paid. I needed a mouse pad for my work stuff, so now I got a mouse pad. So there was, and I think there may have been more than one, but he was the first artist I saw that had all his big prints and then play mats and mouse pads. So you could buy any of the sizes you want that was actually useful.
Very cool.
Yeah.
I like having the variety option.
Yeah.
That makes it's nice to have something small that you can still pick up and support.
Exactly. Supporting the local artists and got something I needed. All right. This is the first time I bought a bunch of generics and turned them all in at the end. I didn't use one because no ACG.
Wow.
All the demos I did were free. Yeah. All right. I've been talking nonstop. Is there anything else that I missed?
That sounds like you hit it everything. You answered all the questions I had, and you covered everything you did.
Right
That
on.
sounds like it was a successful event.
It was a great success. I would definitely do many of, if not exactly the same things again next year. Food was good. People were good. The games were good. Yeah, awesome. So what
Well,
is
I'm
this?
glad to. Yeah, go ahead.
This letting the Vulcans crash on your couch. What?
I don't really know that it's describable. You just kind of, and I don't get where it came from, but it's a really long kind of what's the word I'm looking for? Far-reaching metaphor for affiliations in 1E.
Okay.
The moral of the story is Vulcans are coming out.
All right. I have to say that it came out, late midnight-ish last night. I remember looking at it and saying, "Oh, those pretty cards. I like the border." And I didn't actually look at the text. And then Charlie posted something to the boards today that said, "Hey, anybody actually like this article?" I didn't see any responses yet, but I'll have to go back and read it then. There is something interesting.
I don't know that you do.
Okay.
I think you got the gist.
So something else we have to talk about references something here, and that is the Dekur, the ship
Yes,
with
that is
tractor
true.
beam and science. That's looks like a tradition that was started back with was it the Enterprise B? Was that the first ship?
No, I think it was actually. Oh, I guess the Enterprise B does come before the Grissom. So that would be the first ship that has a regular skill on it. Because the Grissom has science, but that was in.
Oh, was that in All Good Things? I don't know.
I think that was in All Good Things. Yeah. So, and then B was in Motion Pictures.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
So yeah, so what's it got? Stellar Cartography or
yeah, Enterprise B
got?
And the USS Grissom is not here. USS Grissom was indeed in All Good Things. Yeah, good call. Grissom has science and tractor beam. Oh, wait a minute. Enterprise B doesn't have stellar cartography. What were we thinking of?
The class ship that my grandmother had wheels. She'd be a wagon. The Excelsior.
The Starship Excelsior. Aye. Yes, tractor beam stellar cartography. All right, brilliant. We're not completely losing it. All right. Yeah. So this this Vulcan ship has science. And the new card that they put up, the Vulcan database, plays on your 22 ship or Vulcan lander. Ships gain one of the following skills of special equipment: engineer, medical, anthro, astrophysics, biology, computer skill, exo, geophysics, or stellar cartography. There you go.
What?
It's an incident. You play it on your ship, your 22 ship, and it gains a skill, a regular.
Oh, did that just come up?
Yeah, just came up today.
Oh, there it is.
15 minutes
Okay.
ago. Or plays to
Vulcan
draw 2
database.
cards, limit 4 for each of your ships, and play with a skill as a special equipment. Neat.
Okay. That makes a lot more sense now.
All
that
right.
makes that card that we were looking at a bit better.
You want to talk about the card we were looking at?
Yeah.
It's been a while since we've had a spoiler.
It has. But luckily, we have this one now for Project Power, I believe is the name of it.
No, this is for the pre-warp pack.
Oh, this is still from the pre-warp pack, which, by the way, I absolutely love that name.
Oh yeah, no doubt.
Because
pack and pre-warp pack is perfect. Yeah,
the pre-warp pack. But this is the Vulcan pad. So this is really good. There's not really there's a tricorder for the 22 folks, but they don't have a pad. So this, in fact, fills that hole not just for the Vulcans, but for 22 everywhere. It says your 22 personnel present are cunning +2. Allows one of your personnel present to add a skill from your ship's special equipment here. May reselect once each turn. So now this works with more than 2 and now 3 ships that have skills on them. I assume we'll probably get a few more like that, but that also will work very well with the Vulcan database.
Yeah, Starfleet never had a pad. I don't know if that was by design or not, but I have one now.
Yeah, and apparently there's some black market Vulcan pads that the Klingons and the other 22 folks can use. There's a small bit of of lore here. It does have the 22 icon. It does have the AU icon, as the other 22 equipment does. And the lore is standard Vulcan personal access display device for computerized information.
Computerized information. All right, very good. Yeah, 71p is what we were looking at, and it has the preview expansion icon, just like all the other cards in this set. So
yeah,
interesting. All right. Looking forward to that. That expansion comes out soonish, right? Pre-work pack released on the 23rd, so end of Friday.
So Friday.
Oh, there's a Vulcan phaser too. Vulcan use only. EG personnel is +2. All right, standard old phaser.
So it looks like this is going to be the look. We have to make these cards because we're making a new affiliation, but we don't want to take up room in the set for them. So here you go.
Right.
Here's your phaser. Here's your treaty. Here's your outpost. Here's a couple of standard personnel. Here's a universal ship. Here's your incident engine.
Go to
kind
town.
of surprised the engine ended up in here. I feel like that's something you could say is okay in the set, but
on the other hand, when this releases, you can just play Vulcans.
That's true. You could do it right away,
even if they're not any good.
Even if they're not any good. I almost paused when I read this the first time, the :R, because it does say it's missing a bit of text I've been accustomed to, which is the once per turn, if you do not play Protect the Timeline, one personnel may report for free. Not one such personnel, talking about all the Vulcans. And I was like, what? You could just play anybody for free? But then the last line kind of nullifies that with the if you have discard incident if you play or have played any non-Vulcan personnel. So I guess technically you could get one in.
It's good for one free play. Any personnel you want, anything in your deck, any personnel, anytime. as long as you have Vulcan and spend a seed card, you can play one personnel for free.
Yeah.
You maybe there's a deck that just needs one extra person on the first turn. And, hey, if it's Vulcan, it stays around for a couple seconds until you play something else. All right, very good. I've got nothing else, and I've been talking all this time, so I think I'm going to break open the Happy Salmon.
Nice. I think that sounds like fun.
I will. Are we? No, I'm gonna be missing this Friday, so I can't bring Anatomy Park with me. I'm certainly not gonna bring it back to the grandparents' house. But one of these Fridays, I will bring it along, and we can have a game of that, and all these other. We need to go through this bag of True Dungeon loot and figure out what's what for ourselves. Maybe we can organize it somehow.
Yeah, I know Mac has some.
Yeah.
So we'll have to go and figure out. I can get my buddy Zach to come and tell us if anything is at all worth playing.
So I don't know if they had it when you did it 2 years ago or whatever, but one of the things we did in the startup room, instead of just having a stack of things, I want to use this, I want to use this, they had a chart of.
Yes.
Yeah.
I love that.
This is a head, this is a head spot, this is rings, and then all the things that are just consumables you just carry in your pocket. So.
Yeah, and they go through and do all the math for you. So they put that on your character sheet. So you're like, okay, you're +7 to attack, instead of having to go through. It's like, oh, okay, you got +2 from this and +3 from that, and blah, 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 blah. Yeah, I love that.
Yeah, very good. All right. Then I'm going to try to start rememorizing my wizard chart. I get these Happy Salmon cards unstuck to each other.
Oh, those new.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Well, we did manage to play. I didn't actually manage to play, but I cracked open the Anatomy Park and had the joy of popping all the cards out of the cardboard. And the cardboard makes a nice little backstop for the insert. So when you put the insert in, now it's flush with the top, and things don't fall over the place. Good idea.
It's a good trick.
Yeah.
I like that.
All right. And one other thing we have to do is figure out where the wait list is for L5R.
Yeah, I spent some time on the website today, and I could not find anything about a wait list on either Fantasy Flight's message boards or Gen Con's message boards. What I did find out is that they actually released another 350 spots last week.
That have already been taken, I'm sure.
That have already been taken. So, zippity doo dah. That helps a lot. It's really frustrating that was not really better publicized, considering I hit refresh like every day for the entire month of May, trying to hopefully see if more of those would become available. Apparently, it was on their website for about 3 days before it happened, but it says they're still planning, to have a bunch of spots. They're going to take everybody. They have a big cushion of setup time. Like they're going to start, it's supposed to start at 1, and they're like, people can come between 10:30 and 12:30 to start, picking up their boxes and making their decks and everything. And then they're at 12:30, they're going to start taking generics to fill in. So I guess I'm going to I bought enough generics to cover it today, so that I guess I'm going to go in at, 6 o'clock Thursday morning and sit in the card hall next to the Fantasy Flight booth and hope that, I can get in line, because apparently that's the only way it's going to be able to get in. I'm kind of torn, because on the one hand, really my priority is just to get it. Like, I just want to get the set.
He did say that it would be available to buy. If you didn't get in, you can still buy it.
Right, but all of available. Well, there's available to buy. In that, if you are a person there is a non-zero chance that you will be able to go to the floor and buy it. However, all of the press releases have said, it will be available in limited quantities. So that leads to my second quandary, which is, okay, I'm going to get up at dark 30 and try to get there to do something first thing Thursday, but do I sit in the card hall and hope we get into that event so that I can not only get it but also play it and get the cool promos that are probably going to only be available to that event?
Right.
Or do I sit at the door with the sweaty masses pushing and shoving and jockeying to try and get on the floor?
Yeah.
Running in to get to the Fantasy Flight booth, and then trying to figure out where I need to go to get in line to buy it, and then wait 3 hours, get to be fourth person in line, and then say, oh, okay, we're sold out for today, come back tomorrow.
No, even better. You've been waiting 4 hours. Here's a raffle ticket.
Yeah,
we'll be allowing certain people to buy it.
It's not Comic-Con yet.
Yeah. Ooh, arcane lenses +1 spell damage.
Ooh.
All right, I'm done. All right, very good. Let's wrap this, and we will talk about something on Monday, I'm sure.
Yeah. All right. Well, that's all the intelligence we have this week. Thanks to everybody who came out and hung out with Dan at Origins. That sounded like it was a good time, even though it was small but fun attendance. I'm looking forward to checking it out again next year. In the meantime, I am Rogue.
I'm Sir Dan.
And I will remind you all to expand your power in the universe.
And I'll draw to end.